A survey of 1,200 registered voters yields 540 who plan to vote for the Democratic candidate. Find and interpret a 95% interval for P. So this is our formula for the confidence interval for proportion. All right, so we're going to use this computation here. But first, let's go ahead and find P hat. Remember that P hat is always the number of people who agree with whatever the issue might be. In this case, they plan to vote for the Democratic candidate, so it's 540 over the total number of people surveyed, which is 1,200. And we'll make this into a decimal. It'll be a lot more wieldy if we do. So 540 divided by 1,200 ends up being 0.45. All right, we are going to plug it first into the formula for E. All right, now we have a 95% confidence interval. If we go back to our confidence interval list, for 95%, we're going to use a z-value of 1.96. So let's fill in with 1.96 for z. We just got P hat. It was 0.45. And then we'll have 1 minus 0.45. And then our sample size is the total 1,200 voters who were surveyed. Now, I'll work this out a little bit at a time because people tend to make mistakes putting this into the calculator. So I'm going to do the 1 minus 0.45 first, which is really 0.55. And now I will do the entire square root, and then lastly I will multiply it times the 1.96. And that ends up being 0.01436. Be careful, take this out as many decimal places as you get. You can round off later, but don't round off early. And then lastly, I'll multiply that times 1.96. And I've got that my E is 0.028. And I'm just going to take that 3 decimal places for the sake of our... Now we'll have P hat was 0.45. So we're going to take 0.45 minus 0.028 and 0.45 plus 0.028 and get that confidence interval. All right, so the first one, 0.45 minus 0.028 is going to be 0.422. And the second one is going to be 0.478. All right, now those are the limits of my confidence interval right here, but let's go ahead and make our statement. We are 95% confident. Notice this is starting out just like one of the statements for the mean, but we are doing a proportion, so we have to keep that in mind. The true proportion all right, now let's see what this is a proportion of. Democrats, but let's see. People who vote for the Democratic candidate. That's not necessarily a Democrat. Of people, and I should have said of people who vote for the Democratic candidate. is between, I'm running out of room on the page, .427 and 0.478. Now, many times when things involving proportion are reported to people, they're reported as percentages. So we could likewise say we are 95% confident the true percentage of people who vote for the Democratic candidate is between 42.7% and 47.8%. So a proportion can very quickly be changed over to a percentage.